The Secret Behind the Wall. My name is Maria. I'm 25 years old. I want to tell you a story. It is a story about my life, my husband, and a house that changed everything. Some people say that houses are just stone and wood, but I know the truth. Houses have hearts. Houses have memories. And sometimes houses have secrets that can stay hidden for a very long time. This is my story. 3 months ago, I thought I was living in a dream. I was a young bride. I got married to a man named Thomas. Thomas is 30 years old. He is a very special person. He is tall, he is handsome, and he has a very gentle soul. He works as an architect. He loves to build things. He loves to plan. I loved him with all my heart. We were very happy in our small apartment in the city. But the city was too fast. It was too loud. We wanted something different. We wanted a quiet life. One day, Thomas came home with a big smile. He said, "Maria, I found it. I found our forever home." We drove to a small village. It was a long drive. We saw green hills and old forests. Finally, we reached the house. It was a beautiful house made of white stone. It was very old, maybe 100 years old. It had a large garden with tall trees and many red roses. The air was fresh and sweet. I looked at the house and I felt a warm feeling in my chest. "This is it, Thomas," I cried. "This is our dream." We bought the house and moved our things. The first few weeks were wonderful. We spent our days cleaning the old rooms. We painted the walls white. We put our large bed in the main bedroom on the second floor. We put a wooden table in the kitchen. Every morning we drank coffee in the garden and watched the birds. I thought, this is the beginning of a perfect life. But perfection is a mask. Under the mask, there was a secret. And that secret was waiting for me. It was waiting behind a wall that I did not see. After the first month, the summer ended. The autumn came with cold rain and gray skies. The house became very quiet. And Thomas started to change. He was not the same man. He became very quiet. He did not want to talk at dinner. He sat at the table and looked at his hands. Sometimes he stayed in his office for many hours. He did not come out to see me. "Thomas, what is wrong?" I asked him. "Are you unhappy here?" He looked at me with sad eyes. He said, "No, Maria, I am just tired. The house is very old. It needs a lot of work. I am just thinking about the repairs." But I knew he was lying. I felt it in my heart. He was nervous. At night, he did not sleep well. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and the bed was empty. I heard his steps in the hallway. Step, step, step. He was walking slowly. He was looking at the walls. One night, I followed him. I stayed in the shadows. I saw him standing in front of a very large old mirror in the hallway. The mirror had a gold frame with roses. Thomas was touching the frame. He was whispering. He said a name over and over. "Elena, Elena." My heart stopped. Who was Elena? Was it an old love? Was it a secret from his past? I was frightened. I realized that I did not know everything about my husband. I realized that our house had a shadow that was growing every day. It was a Tuesday morning. The wind was blowing hard outside. Thomas went to his office at 8 o'clock. I was alone in the house. I decided to clean the guest room. This room was very cold. We did not use it. There was a very large old wardrobe in the corner. It was made of dark, heavy wood. It was covered in dust. I wanted to clean behind the wardrobe. I pushed it with my hands. It did not move. It was too heavy. I pushed again with all my strength. Finally, the wardrobe moved a few inches. I looked at the floor. I saw something small and silver. I picked it up. It was a key. The key was very old. It had a strange shape. It looked like a small bird. I held the key in my hand. It was very cold, like a piece of ice. I asked myself, what does this key open? I started to look for a lock. I tried the key on every door. I tried the kitchen cupboards. I tried the front door. I tried the back door. I went to the basement. The basement was dark and smelled like wet earth. I tried the key on every old box. Nothing. I went to the attic. The attic was hot and full of spiders. I looked under the floor. I looked behind the old chairs. I did not find a lock for the silver key. In the evening, Thomas came home. He looked very tired. We sat in the kitchen. I decided to show him the key. Thomas, I found this today in the guest room. Do you know what it is? Thomas looked at the key. Suddenly, his face became very white. He dropped his cup of tea. He took the key from my hand very quickly. He was very angry. Where did you find this? He shouted. I was shocked. Thomas never shouted at me. It was under the wardrobe, I whispered. Thomas put the key in his pocket. It is just a piece of trash, Maria. It is a broken key from an old house. Do not touch it again. Do not look for things in this house. This is my house too. Stay in the kitchen. Stay in the bedroom. Do not go to the guest room again. He walked away. He was very cold. I felt a great sadness. The house was not a home anymore. It was a prison, and the silence was scary. 2 weeks passed. Thomas acted like everything was normal, but I knew it was not. He was hiding the silver key. I watched him. I saw where he put it. He put it in a small wooden drawer in his desk. He locked the drawer and he kept the desk key in his pocket. I waited for the right moment. I was like a detective now. On Saturday, Thomas told me he had to go to the city. I will be back at 7 o'clock, he said. As soon as he left, I went to his office. I looked for the desk key. I looked everywhere. Finally, I found it. He hid it inside an old book on the shelf. I opened the drawer. The silver key was there. I took it. My heart was beating like a drum. Thump, thump, thump. I went back to the bedroom. I sat on the floor. I looked at the large mirror on the wall. I remembered how Thomas touched the frame. I stood up and I touched the glass. It was cold. I touched the wall behind the mirror. The wall felt warm. Why was the wall warm? I moved the mirror. It was very, very heavy. I pushed with my whole body. I pushed until my arms were tired. Finally, the mirror moved. Behind the mirror, the wall was not stone. It was made of old wood panels. I pushed one panel. It moved. My heart was jumping. Behind the wood, there was a very small door. A hidden door. In the middle of the door, there was a small silver lock. I took the silver key. My hands were wet with sweat. I put the key in the lock. It was a perfect fit. I turned the key to the right. Click. The sound was very loud in the quiet house. I pushed the door. It opened with a slow, heavy sound. Behind the door, it was very dark. I could not see anything. I went to the kitchen and took a lamp. I came back to the bedroom. I entered the secret room. The room was very small. It was like a small box. It smelled like old paper and dried flowers. There was a lot of dust on the floor. I moved the lamp around the room. I saw a small chair. I saw a small wooden table. On the table, there were many letters. They were in blue envelopes. I picked up one letter. The paper was very thin and yellow. The date was June 1996. That was 30 years ago. I started to read the letter. It said, "Thomas, my brother, I can hear you playing in the garden. I want to see the roses. Why am I in this room? When can I come out? I am so lonely. Please bring me a book today. Please do not forget me." I was shocked. I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I found a photo on the table. It was a black and white photo of a young girl. She was maybe 8 years old. She was very beautiful. She had long, dark hair and a very sad smile. She looked exactly like Thomas. They had the same eyes. They had the same nose. Then I found another paper. It was an official document from a hospital. I read the words slowly. My eyes filled with tears. I finally understood the secret. Thomas did not have a bad secret. He was not a bad man. He was a man with a broken heart. The girl in the photo was Elena. She was his little sister. Many years ago, when they were children, life was very different. Elena was a very special girl. She was smart and she was kind. No, she was different. She had a problem with her mind. Sometimes she talked to the air. Sometimes she cried for no reason. In that time, the family was very strict. The parents were ashamed of Elena. They did not want the people in the village to know about her. They thought she was a disgrace to the family name. So they built this small room behind the mirror. They kept the little girl here. For 3 years, Elena lived in this small, dark box. Thomas was only 12 years old. He was her only friend. He brought her food. He brought her books. He brought her roses from the garden. He loved her more than anyone. But he was only a child. He could not save her from the darkness. I sat on the small chair in the secret room and I cried. I thought about the little girl. I thought about how she waited for her brother every day. I thought about the fear and the loneliness in her heart. I felt so much love for Thomas, but I also felt so much sadness for him. He carried this heavy burden for 30 years. Suddenly, I heard a sound behind me. I turned around. Thomas was standing at the secret door. He was not in the city. He came back early. He saw the lamp. He saw the letters in my hand. He saw the photo of Elena. He did not shout. He did not look angry. He looked very, very old. He sat on the floor and he put his head in his hands. He began to cry. It was a loud, painful sound. It was the sound of 30 years of silence. "I am sorry, Maria," he whispered. His voice was broken. "I wanted to tell you. I tried to tell you many times, but I was afraid. I thought you would think I am crazy. I thought you would leave me. This house. I bought this house because it was my parents' house. I wanted to be near her room. I wanted to remember her. My parents wanted me to forget, but I couldn't. I loved her so much." I went to him. I sat on the floor next to him. I put my arms around him. "Thomas," I said, "you are not alone anymore. You are a good man. You were a brave little boy. You loved your sister when nobody else did. That is a beautiful thing. It is not a disgrace." Thomas looked at me. His eyes were red from crying. "Do you really mean that, Maria?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "We don't have to hide her anymore. Elena was your sister. She was a person. She was loved. We will bring her memory into the light." That night we did not sleep. We stayed in the secret room. Thomas told me everything. He told me how Elena liked to sing songs about the stars. He told me how she made small birds out of paper. He told me how she died in the hospital one year after she left this house. He never went to her funeral because his parents did not allow him. "She was so beautiful, Maria," he said. "She was the best part of my childhood." We cried together, but they were not only sad tears, they were tears of relief. The secret was not a wall between us anymore. It was a bridge. The next day, we opened the secret door forever. We cleaned the room. We painted the walls a beautiful white color. We put many red roses there and many books. We found the hospital where Elena died, and we found her grave. It was a small, lonely place. We bought a beautiful stone for her. On the stone we wrote, "Elena, a sister, a friend, never forgotten." Now Thomas is not nervous anymore. He does not walk in the house at night. He sleeps like a baby. He smiles at me every morning, and his smile is real now. Our house is not cold anymore. It is full of light and music. I realized that every house has a story, and every heart has a secret. But when you share your secret with the person you love, the darkness disappears. You become free, and that is the most beautiful feeling in the world. We are a family now, a real family with no more shadows. Vocabulary list: Master your English. Village, a very small town far from the city. Hidden, something that is kept out of sight. Quiet, making very little noise, calm and peaceful. Whispering, speaking very softly and quietly. Secret, something that is not told to other people. Wardrobe, a large piece of furniture for storing clothes. Dust, small pieces of dirt that cover things in a house. Strange, unusual, or surprising, hard to understand. Basement, a room below the ground level of a house. Attic, a room just below the roof of a house. Frightened, feeling very afraid or scared. Shocked, feeling very surprised and upset. Document, an official paper that gives information. Mind, the part of a person that thinks and feels. Ashamed, feeling bad or embarrassed about something. Scary, something that makes you feel fear. Nervous, feeling worried or anxious. Bridge, something that connects two people's hearts. Free, feeling happy and light, not controlled by a secret.